So generally, to track program execution, we need to log some messages so that later after execution, when we look at those messages, we'll come to know what has happened during program execution. So
Siddesh sir recording on చేశారు కదా?
చేశాను.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
చేశాను. Uh, so basically, we try to log messages like all the informative messages uh, and some logical order based on your program execution flow. You log those messages in log file. Later, when you look at those log files, you'll come to know how the program got executed. Okay. The tool that we are going to use here is log4j. So log4j is a Java tool which is used for logging, which is written in Java. Okay, so which is most widely used tool. So now I will show how to implement logging in our project using log4j. So before going into details, first I'll set it up. Okay, first step that we need to do is installing log4j, then configuring log4j, and I will directly implement logging. I'll run our test, show you how messages got logged in our log files. Then we'll discuss about theory and we'll go into details. Okay. First, I would like to show a trial run using log4j. After that, we'll discuss internals of log4j. Okay. So first of all, installing log4j. That is very simple. Since we are using Maven, all that we need to do is just add Maven dependency in pom.xml for log4j. So if we go here I have already added Maven dependency. If I go and see in Maven dependencies, we will find log4j jar. Okay. So next step is, so this is about installing log4j. Okay, just add Maven dependency. In pom.xml. So once that is there, next thing is to make use of it. Okay, so for log4j, we need a configuration file that can be either an XML file or .properties file. Okay, that can be a log4j.xml or log4j.properties. So in our example, I'm going to show how to do it using log4j.xml. You can go for any one of these. Okay, no need of both at a time. So we'll go with log4j.xml. Okay, so what I'll do in our project, under config folder, I'll create this log4j configuration file. It's already open. Okay, I'll go to this conf. Here I'll create new file called log4j.xml. Okay, I have already have the content of that. Okay, we'll completely copy this and paste over here. We'll explain each line in detail. Okay, so where I need to got that, and one more folder I need to create. So far we don't have logs folder in our project. Okay, so the folders that I created were conf folder and drivers, these two are. Now I'm going to create a third folder and I'll name it logs, which contain log file. Okay, so here my log file will get created in logs folder. with the name selenium-suite.log. Okay. Now, instead of going with our these tests, I'll create a sample test. Okay, with the main method. Kalyan, Kalyan is already there in group, right?
Just disconnect time will connect అయినట్టున్నాడు.
Kalyan, Kalyan. Okay. So second step is to create this configuration file. Then third step is to create a logger object. Public static logger logger. I'll name the logger object as logger equal to logger dot get logger, and I need to pass the class name. What is the class name? Test1 dot class. Okay. So this is the third step. Now fourth step is to make use of that. Okay, first I'll do some sysouts. I'll do logger. So I have created this logger object over here, right? I need to use that logger object dot do something like this. Info. Okay, and I will run this. Okay, okay. We missed one thing. See, we have added this configuration file log4j.xml in conf folder. Okay, but this conf folder is not yet added as a resource. So if you remember, see, there is source main resources. If you remember, source main resources is the folder. This resources is the folder where we need to put all the configuration files, or where Maven by default look for configuration files. Okay, so your code or your development code might need some properties files, some .xml configuration files, whatever those files. So all those files need to be kept here under resources. Okay, but instead of using this default folder, manage folder, I have created this new folder, conf folder. So So maven by default go and look in this folder for resources. In this folder there is no resource. That means there is no, these are all the resources. We can call all these as resources. Okay, maven by default looks in this folder, but there are no resources in this folder. uh, just for readability purpose, I just created a folder with name conf, so that people just by looking at that, okay, understand that this is the configuration folder, or this folder contains all the configuration file. I created this new folder, but I need to tell maven that this is my resources folder and not this, or this is also my resource folder. I need to tell maven that this is also my resource folder. Okay, so this message no appenders could be found. So this is log4j message. So this message is displayed when this log4j.xml is not found in your class path. Okay, so even though I have added this file in this configuration folder, since this conf folder is not in class path, this error is thrown. All that I need to do is just go and add this conf folder in your class path. Where to add that? We should add that in our pom.xml. Okay, in pom.xml I need to add that. Okay, so far we have added only dependencies. Now it's time to add resources also. So first we need to create this build folder. Between build tags we'll find our resources. Okay, inside resources we need to add a resource. Okay, so how to add? So basically if you go to effective pom, okay, this is effective pom which has all the data. Okay, that is detailing data. So if you go inside, there is already resources folder. Okay, resources. Okay, all that we need to do is a resource, we need to add a directory. Okay, so just for reference, I'm just referring to this effective pom. So see, if you see here, see, it has all the source directory. Okay, source main scripts, script source directory, test source directory, output directory, test output directory, all the stuff here. Okay, okay, so here inside this resource I need to tell the directory which contains. So what is the directory? I can do this project dot base dot directory slash conf. Okay, okay, let me refer to this maven with the dependencies, maven and no dependencies. Here I have already created this pom.xml. How did I add a resource? If you see I have added resource. So this is how I need to add. Okay, okay. So what I all that I did here is, so this is basically not log4j thing. This is a maven thing. Okay, we should have done it prior. Okay, so this is not related to log4j. So since our log4j.xml is present in config folder, we need to tell maven that okay, this is our new resource folder. Okay, that means, so maven by default look in this folder also along with source main resources folder for any resources. Since uh, here, if you see this line, when I use log4j logger in my code, what it first does is it will look for log4j.xml in class path. Now, since now we have already added conf folder in our class path, so this will also look in conf folder, read this log4j.xml, understand the configuration, then execute that. Okay, let me run this. So it still doesn't understand, even though after adding it here, framework, I've added it over here. Let's see the source. If you see over here, by default, Maven looks in all these folders. So by default, I have not added the source folder here. Okay, since Maven by default look in these folders. By default, they get added to source folder in this source path. This is Java build path. In Java build path under source. Mute చేసుకుంటారా ఎవరన్నా? ఏదో సౌండ్ వస్తుంది. శ్రీధర్
నాదేనా?
నీదే.
సరే.
Okay, so still it's not, did not understand what I'll do run as clean. ఎవరి దగ్గర కుక్కర్ వస్తుంది బా, మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి.
చేస్తా.
Okay, it's done. See, I just did a Maven clean install. Now if I go and look in this build path under source, so they got copied over here. Okay, somehow it's not showing it over here. Okay, but still don't worry. So now we are able to run our test case. That means the message are getting logged. If I go this logs here, the file got created selenium suite.log. In it wrote that I am info message. Okay, let me repeat what I have done. Okay, step 1 is this installing log4j. Step 2, configuring log4j. What I did here, created log4j.xml, okay, under conf folder. So just what I need to make sure that conf is already added, conf folder is already added as a resource in form.xml. Okay, and remember, if instead of creating them over here conf, if you create them on source main resources, you don't need to do this step also. So this step is not needed, this one. Okay, since by default they are in class path. Maven by default looks in those folders. Okay, then so can be configured using log4j.xml or log4j.properties. Since we are going to use log4j.xml, created that log4j.xml in this folder. Okay, then created a logger object in test class, okay, or any class. So this is the step, this is that step. Okay, and lastly use logger object to log the messages. Okay, so we did all these steps. We did installation, we did this configuration part. Okay, so this is the configuration part. Okay, I'll divide it into third one, step 3. uh, this is step 1, this is step 2. Okay, then this is step 3. I'll call it using logger object or logging. Okay, so for implementing logging we need to create a logger object, implement logging in. Sorry. Okay, so we did all these things: create a object in class, use logger object to log messages. So okay, so now we'll go into details of this configuring log4j file. Okay, so if I open this log4j.xml, okay, it is divided into, this is appender. Okay, there are two appenders. Okay, and this is the logger. Okay, so first of all, what is an appender? Okay, so log4j can be divided into these things, or log4j components: appender, layout. Okay, so appender has the configuration on where to log our log messages. Okay, so somewhere we need to log our log messages. So you can log your log messages in a log file, that is text file, or you can log it in console itself, here itself. Okay, you can log our message in the console itself. You can log messages in a log file like this. Okay, so there are multiple appenders. See, appender is an object which actually writes messages to destination. So appender exists for file, so you can write log in log file, you can write in console, you can write in remote socket servers, you can write it to a JMS queue. Okay, so there is no necessity that you always write your logs into log file. You can write your logs on any of these destinations. So these four are basically destination. There are other also. uh, these are few other examples. So far, most of the times in our projects we always log our messages in log file. Okay, file. But using log4j we can log our messages in console, remote socket servers, JMS queues. Okay, into many places. Okay, so if I go to this configuration file, so there are two appenders. Okay, so this appender name is console. It tells where to log. So that means, so this means log your or append your messages, log messages to console. Okay. Similarly, this appender tells log your messages or append your messages into a file. Okay. So for now, we are not interested in this because so there is no use of logging our messages to console. So because so when you keep your console window open, then only you will be able to see. Suppose if you want to see messages after 10 days, okay, if it is a file, you can go and open the file and see 10 days previous before logs also. But if it is in console, so your console has limitation, it can contain only some number of lines only. Okay. So if it contains, suppose if it can contain only 1,000 lines, so you'll only have latest 1,000 lines. You will miss the previous 1,000 lines. So anyhow, the writing to console is not at all a valid option for logging. Okay. So writing to file is the mostly used appender option in logging. Okay. If you go into details of this appender, the first thing itself says where you want to write. I want to write it to a file. Okay. Then name append value equal to true. This means if I keep it false, every time you run your program, it will delete previous log. Keep your current execution log only. If I make append equal to false, if I put append equal to true, then that means it goes on appending to existing file. Suppose if I run it now, it will write log in log file. If I run it again, it will keep the previous run log file, add data to next run. That's add log corresponding to next run. So or append. Okay, let me show an example. So this is our previous execution log messages. Now I have changed it to append equal to true. I'll run this program again. Okay, if I go to this, go here, see, it got appended to existing file. If I run it again, it will again get appended to the file. So see, so basically this is getting appended. Now if I go and change it to false, let us see by running this. See, so it has not appended. So it starts a fresh file or it takes a new file or it deletes previous data and keep the log corresponding to current execution only. So it's always good to keep true. Okay. So that means you want append, you want previous history also, not just the current run. Okay. Then maximum file size. So as the log messages are logged into this file or written to this file size goes on increasing. Okay. So it can take, we are restricting that file size to 10 MB. Okay. If that value is reached, so that means your file size can go to a maximum of 10 MB. Okay. Then there is max backup index. So backup index means as soon as this file is the file size reaches 10 MB, okay, what it does, it creates a new log file. Okay, it backups the old log file and creates a new log file. Okay, in such way it can create a maximum of 10 files. Okay, something like this. Suppose if this file size reaches 10 MB, what it does, it renames it to selenium suite.log.1, something like that. Okay, then so it keeps aside, it will create a new file selenium suite.log. Okay, then it will start writing log messages to it once it also reaches 10 MB, what it does, it will rename it to selenium suite.log.2 and create a third file with selenium suite.log, like that. Okay, like that. So a maximum of 10 such files can be created. Okay, then this parameter tells where to write your log. So this is under logs folder. write in selenium.log file. Okay. Okay, this is about the appender or appender configuration for writing it to a file. There is another important thing called layout. Okay, see, so this layout starts here and ends over here. Okay, and it has this conversion parameter, uh, conversion pattern parameter. Okay, so what it basically tells is how to log your messages or how your log messages should look in log folder. If we go over here, see, at the beginning we are showing this timestamp, then we are showing the logger level. I'll tell what are the different logger levels. Okay, then we are showing the class name, okay, and line number where this is present. See, or this is the line number, class name is test1, this is the line number. Okay, then we are showing the message. So this every single message, the pattern of every single message that is being written to log file is decided using this pattern. Suppose if I remove this date thing, okay, and run this, see, since I have removed date, this time date is not logged. Okay, I'll revert it back. Okay, uh, so this basically tells how your message should look in your log message. So what are the information that you need, or how your log message should look like, the pattern, okay, or the template is decided using this layout parameter. Okay, so this is about appender. Now you have created appender. Now the next step is to call that appender. Okay, how to call that? So this is how we need to call. Okay, so basically this will call that. So we have decided the level is debug. Okay, appender reference equal to file. That means, so see, the appender name is file, or I can change it to file appender. Okay, but you have to refer it over here. Okay, this is basically something like, uh, this is where your uh, configuration starts. Suppose it first, your log4j first look at this parameter, it will check for the level, then it will check for the appender. Since since file appender is mentioned over here, it will go and look what is the file appender. Okay, it will understand all these parameters. In such way, it will, based on this appender configuration, it will write logs to file. Okay, so this is file appender. Okay, you can have multiple appenders in your log4j.xml. Okay, so this is an appender to write in a file. Suppose if you want to see here, if you see here, so there is started, there is done, there is nothing written between. So that means this log message, this logger.info message, that is not written in console. Okay, because we have not configured it that way. So we only configured to write our log messages in a file. Now we'll also configure our log messages to be written into console also. How to do that? So this is the appender for that. Okay, so I'll call it console appender. Okay, so this is the class in log4j jar which deals with the logging to or logging to console. Okay, then here we are defining the layout. Okay, so layout means how it should look in your console. Okay, so now I have created appender. It's time to call that appender. How to call that appender? Like this. Simply copy this. Okay, Okay, so I have created a console appender over here. Okay, now I am calling that appender from my root tag. Now let me run this. See, now it got written to console also. I am info message. Okay, and I see over here it got written over here also. Since because we are using two appenders and we are calling both the appenders. Okay, so it has written to console as well as file. Okay, suppose if I comment this out, that means it will only write to console. Okay, see here there is no fourth line. This was previous log. Okay, so this is about your log4j.xml. This is very simple configuration. Okay, all you need to understand these things. Okay, so in general no one will write their logs into console. Okay, for now I'll keep it. Okay, so basically no one prefer writing into console. Okay, for now I'll keep it over here. Okay, I'll make our log to be written to both console as well as file. Okay, so now we know what is an appender. Okay, and what is the layout. Layout is the object. We decide the format of the message being logged in log file. Okay, that is timestamp followed by class name followed by line number followed by the actual log message. Okay, that complete stuff that is decided by layout. Then the the other important aspect of log4j is log4j levels. Okay, so all and off ignore this. We'll discuss this debug info warn error fatal. Okay, okay, so what I'll do, first one is debug. How many are there? Debug 2 3 4 5. Okay, I'll paste 4 times 5 times. First one is debug info warn error fatal. Okay, so what I'll say, I am debug message, I am info message, I am warning message, I am error message, I am fatal message. Okay, let me run this. Okay, it has written all this stuff. Let's see, I am debug message, I am info message, I am warn message, I am error message, I am fatal message. If I go over here, it is written in log file also. Okay, so if I go back to this configuration file, see here the level is the value of this level parameter is debug. That means it tells the okay, before that I'll tell this here. So see, there are multiple levels: debug, info, warn, error, fatal. So basically in your code you can log messages like this. So logger.debug, logger.info, logger.warn, logger.error, logger.fatal. Okay, suppose if I give my level as debug, that means it logs all the messages. Okay, starting from fatal to debug. So this is the actually this is the order. So debug, info, warn, error, fatal, this is the order. Okay, if I give debug, that means then all the levels below debug including debug will get logged. That means starting from debug, info, warn, error, fatal. Okay. Suppose if I give this level over here as, instead of debug, if I give it as warn. Okay, let me run this, you will understand. Okay, see, since I gave that level as warn, it logged warn, error and fatal. Okay, and it has not logged debugged info. That means, so this is the order, this is the predefined order for log4j for the levels. Okay, if you based on the level, okay, it will try to understand what are all the messages that needs to be logged in log file. Okay, so if I give warn, then it will log all the messages including warn until fatal. So if I give debug, it will log all. If I give info, okay, it will log these four. If I give error, it will log only these two. If I give fatal, it will log only this one. Basically, this respects this order. Suppose if I give fatal over here, okay, see, it has only written this fatal messages. It has not written other messages. Okay, okay, why do we need multiple levels? Okay, suppose if you go on logging each and every information, then your log file will be so huge, or your log file size increases very drastically. Okay, and they occupy uh, storage in your servers. So that is not what we want. Okay, we don't want our servers to be uh, server space be occupied by log files. Okay, so what we in that case, how to deal that case? Okay, so we need to identify the messages which are needed for debugging purpose, which are needed for just information purpose, which are warning messages, which are error messages, which are fatal messages. So we need to identify the messages that we are logging in our code. Okay, so when we are logging, instead of just doing logger.info all the times or logger.debug all the times, you just decide what kind of message it is. Okay, suppose debug means very granular level, very minute level. That means too much detailed information. Debug. Info means just informative. So just to inform what is happening. Warn means something like if it warns about some conditions. Okay, something is like this. Make sure your okay, it just warns. Okay, so that we will take some action. But it just warns, but it does not stop execution. It just warns. Okay, then error. Okay, so errors are like okay, they are also critical messages. That means they need to be taken care of immediately. Then there are fatal something like out of memory, out of space, those kind of things. Okay, those need to be addressed very quickly. Okay, immediately. Okay, so if they are not addressed, or if they occur, your program execution stops. Okay, so you we can easily identify what kind of message it is. We can categorize that message among any one of these levels. Once you are done it, so when you log that, use appropriate level. Okay, okay. So now what I'll do is, if I go for debug mode, since debug is very too much information, that means too much data will be returned to our log file. That is too much verbose. Okay, that occupies too much space in our server. So we don't want debug all the times. Okay, we want debug when we only test in our test environment, or when we are doing in like so particular execution where we want to debug what happening. Okay, so we go for that, only that. So generally uh, info is also contains too much information. Okay, relatively lesser than debug, but info also contains much information. We might be interested in warn. Okay, because warn just it doesn't show debug and info. It doesn't show too much information. It will just show warning messages, error messages, fatal messages. So suppose if I change it to warn, this level to one, then the debug and info message will not be logged in log file. It will only log the next level things, warn, error, and fatal. Okay, so warn messages generally you in your application you will have a very few number of warn messages. Okay, that means your file size will not be, log file will not be too much. Then error, so error and fatal messages, there you hardly get those messages. If you get those messages, it's like your execution is stopped. Okay, so suppose if you get those messages, your execution is stopped and you want to know why it got stopped, you just go into your log file and see. Okay, see for error and fatal messages. Okay, then you'll come to know, okay, what has caused my program to stop abruptly. Okay, so generally people go for war, okay, or error. Okay, some people they even want to ignore one. Okay, they don't want to look at the one, so they can go for error. In that case, only error and fatal messages only will be logged. If I run this, see here, one error and fatal messages are only logged. Okay, so this is about levels. So basically log4j respects this order. It has the priority. Okay, where debug having lowest priority and fatal having highest priority. So highest priority messages are always logged, lowest priority messages are logged only that is mentioned. Okay, so this is about levels. Okay, now we know what is an appender, what is the layout. Okay, what are the different levels. Okay, now I need to go for all and off. So if I give all and off over here, all are off over here. Suppose if I do off over here, that means messages log messages will not be logged at all. See, nothing is logged between started and done. Okay, these messages are not logged. If I go over here, you'll find you don't see them over here also. Okay, I'll delete and save this and run this again. You'll understand. Okay, nothing is logged. Okay, started, done. If I go over here, nothing is logged. Okay, now if I go and change it to all, okay, basically it logs all the messages. Run this, that means all debug, info, error, okay, all the stuff. See, it has logged all of them. If I go over here, see, it has logged all of them. So this is about log4j. Okay, so now in our test we can log messages like this. Suppose there is login page test new. Okay, here I need to create the logger object first. How to create logger, public static logger. I'll copy it from here. Okay, and name of the class is this. I need to change that. So see, I am doing the system out println inside after method. Okay, what I'll do, I'll add a before method also. Okay, okay, and after method here. So see, in real time applications, people hardly use system out println because that directly prints to console. Okay, we don't want that. We want messages to be written to log file. How to do that? Logger dot info. Okay, I consider this as info message. Okay, inside before method here also I'll change it to logger dot info, the message being inside after method. Okay, and here wherever I need, okay, I can do that. So what I'll do, here I can do something like this, logger dot info. Okay, uh, okay, I'll change it to logger.debug. Okay, that is I want to print minute level details. Logger.debug. Okay, what I want to log. Okay, um, email. Okay, equals to this email. So yesterday we have implemented data driven approach using data provider, because in there uh, we have passed 3 rows to data provider. That means our test case will get executed 3 times. Okay, every time we want to see what are the email and password that are passed to actual test. How to do that? This is how we need to do logger dot debug. Okay, okay, this is this is not password. Okay, now if I run this, okay, sorry, here I need to change to okay, all is there. Okay, I'll run right. So our test case, the same test case is getting executed 3 times, because through using data provider we are passing 3 sets of data. Okay, so if I go to this log file, see, okay, it is writing some main client.x. Okay, so basically, since we are using Selenium jar files, okay, all the client files, so basically those are jar files. They are not written by us. Okay, so we are just using them. So in those jar files, if there are any messages, so most of they are also implementing log4j. So if in those jar files there are any debug messages, they are also will be printed into our log file. Okay, see, so if you see the class name, so login page test new. Okay, this is our class, login page test new, login page test new. But request add cookie, request cache, these are all not our classes, these are Selenium classes. Okay, so since they also contain the debug messages, those messages are also being written over here. Okay, we can avoid them. Okay, okay, let's not worry about them too much. We'll only look for these. Okay, so see here, first it has written inside before method. Okay, then it has written email equal to invalid mail, the value that we have passed, invalid mail. Okay, error message equal to sorry, we don't recognize this email. Okay, because we are logging those messages using this. Okay, I'll do one thing, I'll change this to info. Okay, see, I don't want these messages, debug messages. So if you look at this priority, okay, okay, so suppose if I give info level as info over here instead of all. Okay, if I give this level, only these messages will get logged. That means info warn error fatal, debug messages will not get logged. Okay, I'll do that. So I have changed the level to info. I'll delete this, rerun the test case. Okay, here I have changed the level to info, and in my test I am logging messages using log.info. So here log.info. So just to differentiate between each run, what I'll do, I'll print this also. Okay, I don't need them because before every test, so before every method, this line will get printed. Okay, now I'll rerun this. If I go over here, okay, see, see now, because the separators that I have used over here. So before here, so in before method I have put this line. That means before every execution, okay, since this test method got executed 3 times, before every execution, first this line will be printed, then this message will be printed. What is that message? Inside before method, okay, then it will go inside the actual test method. There it is printing the email that we have passed, error message that we have passed, okay. Then it says, because the test method execution is done, it runs the inside after method also, okay. So before every method, it runs before method and after method, okay. Then second time, empty, we passed empty email and the error message is this. Third time we passed this, error message is none, okay. So it simply printed all those values. Now just by looking at this properties file, okay, we'll be able to understand, okay, what are the values passed, okay. So we can do a cross check, okay. This basically this logging is for debugging purpose only, okay. We need to, at later stage, we need to debug how this got executed. So see, this is giving a clear information. And logging these lines, so they have made us our life easy, okay. These lines are differentiating between each run, okay. Just so we'll, just by looking at, we'll understand that, okay, this is one, this is one run, and this is one run, like this, okay. So you can log whatever you want, okay, which will help you in understanding your program execution when you look at that file later or after the execution is done, okay. So this is how log file can be used. So we'll stop our class here.